All right. It is Friday night, 7 p.m. Pacific time, 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time from nation to nation, coast to coast. This is Pixels, Plastic, and Ink. Glad that everybody made it. And if you actually did made it, that means you're kind of sitting back and chilling from day number 2 of the New York Comic Con. And what a day was it! All kind of things was dropping, all kind of situations. There's a Haslab that we got to talk about. That who you gonna call? Well, we know who we're gonna call. You're gonna call your banker because you're gonna need some more money before Christmas happens. From also on that, the Marvel Legends team dropped something that is it's just about almost as big as the HasLab, but doesn't cost as much. That's the good part about it. Joe Crusada has a new imprint, and he had a book called Discipline that he took to Comic Con. So we're going to talk about that. We're going to run down all the news, all the situations. If you were watching the live streams, and if you could actually see the Hasbro Pulse panel, or if you had to use another person's live stream to do that, because they actually did not stream it though. So all that comes down, and we'll talk about IDW. There's a problem with the logo, and people aren't too shy about letting people know about that. Stay tuned. This is Pixels, Plastic, and Ink. All right, all right. We're here on the Shadows Network Friday night. We do this every week, and actually, we're missing two of our comrades. You know, Chet Maddox. That plane got delayed, like it always does. He's gonna have to start talking to the airports about that private jet, man. And no Rad tonight and everything, but their thoughts are all with us. I know they didn't want to miss the subject, so we might see them in the comment section. You never know. And I'm over to my other side, my better half, Dr. Brantley. How you doing tonight, sir?
Very good.
And down below, and we're going to make this announcement live on the show. Now, our permanent guest host to the Shadow News Network. So you'll be seeing him jump from Pixel Plastine to Toybox Chronicles, wherever we need him. Richard from KS Collectibles. Sir, how you doing tonight, brother?
Doing good, man.
Yes, sir, he is permanent. It is permanent. No more trial bases. Like I said, so biggest news of the day and the biggest news all over fandom is about the New York Comic Con. News was dropped, and boy, did they save. Now, usually day one is kind of like lackluster, and it kind of was. They had a little bit of the booths and things like that. Man, did they make Friday presents big. I thought they probably would have waited till Saturday, but they dropped a gang of stuff tonight and everything. Did you guys check out any of the live streams? Because I know Popverse was running at Popverse, Colliders, and Comic Book Resources, or CBR, was running live streams all day today. Anybody get a chance to check those out?
I actually was on Whatnot and watched Comic Tom 101 and
Okay.
Mcfarlane and the Image Comics
Yeah.
stream, which was pretty cool.
Yeah, I saw that as well. That was kind of interesting. Whatnot had a presence there. eBay, or like we used to call it, Evil Bay, they had a presence there as well. And everyone. I thought Collider also was also on some of the live streams. I happened to watch the cross panel, and I wasn't too impressed with that. They used Joy Reid as the moderator who was from like MSNBC and NBC. And I don't know if they were having technical difficulties or what, but her mic was extremely high. And the stars, it didn't come off as well as it could because I don't, even though I know she's a professional host, somehow it didn't work out. Like, it didn't feel organic with the whole hosting
Well,
duties and them on stage.
perhaps she's not as deeply into this, type of knowledge as politics, perhaps.
Yeah. Well, I think it's also too was just a money grab. They had
Well,
they paid the cost and Joy Reid showed up. But that was interesting. I thought the thing that was a little bit different was the live streams. And we're going to talk about that later in the night is that because and I'll just pop this question out right here, but we can answer it later. Is New York Comic Con overtaking San Diego Comic Con? And that's going to be something that we want to pose to everyone. If you're in the chat tonight, make sure that you're throwing that in. And what's your thoughts if you saw anything from today? If you think that there's, that this is the case, that San Diego Comic Con's got to get their stuff together, because I can already tell you it looks like they need to. So let's jump into some of the stuff that we got in. We got some assets ready for you guys tonight. I'll pop this up on the screen. Of course, obviously, uh, we've got their logo, so we're just going to roll through that. A couple of key things. We're going to start off with Mezco toys. We were just talking about that, Richard and myself, and also Rat was on Toybox Chronicles this week, about how Mezco is really doing some performance and really stepping up their game. And they're becoming like, major kind of like high end, but not quite high end players. In other words, their pricing is still a little bit lower than Hot Toys and Mondo, but yet they're producing materials that's just as big as those higher end toy companies. Now here we've got obviously their booth, so we got some photos that was taken from their booth, and they've got their Conan the Barbarian figure, and
that's
wow,
beautiful.
that's a great looking figure.
And the
And
face sculpt is
yeah,
amazing.
yeah, just right down to the stripes on his eyes, to the sword, to the muscle overtones and everything. That's how you're doing figures, and I give them credit. They're doing a great job with this, and I was just surprised. That was the first thing that hit my eye. I was like, "Wow, they really did do Arnold Schwarzenegger some justice." That looks like that jumped right off the screen.
They
We'll
just
look.
need to have a giant snake that he can cut the head off of.
Yes, sir. And while I thought also earlier this year they posed some of the Marvel Legend versions of Deadpool and Wolverine, this Mondo figure is like the spinning image of Hugh Jackman. Wow. Like that costume and everything. Mezco is doing work that is really beyond a lot of other companies, and I don't know if they're using like the key understands the facial recognitions or whatever, but they're sculpting it. It looks good. A lot of stuff is also like not just plastic, but there's some soft goods to some of their work. This just look even right down to the claws. They've got that perfect, man.
Now,
And
how
then
do
you
they
look.
not have a final version of a Deadpool and Wolverine figure that's been out since the summer?
I
This should have
think
been
it's
like done a year ago.
I think it's just always approvals. You never know, last minute changes. You never know with these contracts. And whenever it's a licensed property, there's never really fulfillment that is
Yeah,
done. But you look over here at the Thor.
I love that spinning
Classic
hammer.
comic book Thor. And
Yeah, I
wow,
love that.
yes. Yeah, and the one aspect about some of these figures, again, while they're not as bad as, like, we look at or I'm sorry, Mondo and Hot Toys. These are right around the $100 to $200 markings. It's worth the money, and just the spinning hammer part right there is just it's worth the money, man. But yeah, Mezco's doing it. We're looking at some other things. This is from their 5 point line. They have the 89 Batman, which is wow, it's fire. And then they've got the Batman, the animated series characters. Like, I just gotta tell you, man, it's like even a 5-point of
Killing.
articulation looks better than Super Seb's 5-point of articulation.
Yeah,
Now,
they're
So
especially with those, they're killing. They're killing
yeah,
anything Super 7 puts out. I mean,
yeah,
Super 7s, I get it. They're supposed to have that retro look. The
mhm,
characters never look like the characters are supposed to be. These look the face sculpt for even for being so small is
yeah,
amazing.
mhm. Yeah, you're just you know, again, that's when you know what you're doing and you take the time to really kinda, like, hone your craft, it shows, and
now
that's
this is
exactly what you're getting from that.
a question I have for the two of you
Yeah.
because maybe you know a little better, but how can they have the license to do Batman 89 and McFarlane also has the license to do Batman 89 and they look about the same scale?
Well, when it comes right down to it, about the whole Warner Discovery thing, we're in the business and everything else, like, they
Well,
owe
yeah,
a
Yeah,
lot
but
of money.
two
that's
people
what.
making the
Yeah,
exact same thing?
that's what
Yes.
happens. That's what happens when you're bought by a publicly traded company. All they care about is the money coming in. They will
Mhm.
license it out I mean, it they'll keep licensing. I mean, you'll have like 6 or 7 companies put out the same product. So yeah, it's all money to them.
And
Yeah.
just
What they care
and
about
this one
is
is obviously better,
way
better
better.
sculpted and it looks better.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. You're like, wow. It's just one of those aspects where you're like, you know, like you said, a publicly traded company, but yeah, there's a lot, Warner Discovery owes a lot of money. You know, they've got
They did
seven has
lose like what was it, $4 billion last year?
they've got I know Super 7 has a license to it, McFarlane has a license to it, and now Mezco, and I believe that, I'm sure at one part we'll see Mondo pop up with some of these 89 and situations. So, yeah, it doesn't make sense to me to have that many companies doing, and also Spin Master also has the license to the Batman franchise. So, and I know they did an 89 Batmobile for the Flash and recently did one. So, that's a lot of companies. That's a lot of there's a lot of people that's like, basically helping Warner Discovery pay keep the lights on. I'm sure that's gonna our agent Delta bite us in the butt somewhere down the line. Then here's what
Ooh.
the two aspects: Samurai Jack and that soft good suit. Look, I don't know if anybody was a big fan of that show, but I was.
I love that Samurai Jack. So I was right
Yeah,
before we came on. I was just talking about how awesome
yeah.
that thing looked.
Wow, soft goods is amazing on that. Like that, like if they would have done that in plastic, it would have ruined it. This is where that
Oh
really
yeah,
comes out. And then you're looking over at the other side with Beetlejuice, and again, it's like if Michael Keaton just came off the screen. It's like, what are they? They are producing good work, but like that Samurai Jack, that one, I'm gonna have to check their site and see if that's up for pre-order because that one is definitely gonna be brought into the collection because that is really nice. And I'm sure that that's just the first of something because with Mezco, they're gonna like keep producing good work, so they'll probably end up having different variations of that character. And there were a lot of crazy characters in the animated show, so I'm looking forward
such
to
a great
seeing
show.
what they do with it. Absolutely, man. So but and again,
And
like
all the
the
soft
hottest thing
goods
on the
on
go
all the
ahead.
soft goods on that Beetlejuice look. I mean, down to detail, buttons and if you when you see the close-ups of it, they
Yeah.
did an amazing job on those suits. Like this is just it's breathtaking how good this figures actually look.
And I'll give, like you were saying too, I'll give them credit because even that bad suit looks just as good miniaturized bad as it does on screen. Like it looks like a bad suit. And it's
Yeah,
like that kind of detail and work. That's not something that they just guessed about or just somehow just threw it in. That's from like taking a real eye to detail. And again, they're stepping heads and bounds of people. We were talking about that on Wednesday night with some of their GI Joe work and some of the other licensing that they have. And I'm glad that they have been granted a larger licensing group because you're seeing some Marvel stuff. You're seeing some of their own personal stuff that's good, and they've got their RumbleCon that they're doing at the same time as the New York Comic Con. So they're rolling out some of their own stuff. So give them credit for it. We're also going to take a look. This is Jada Toys. Now we were talking about this. I
2 weeks
think it
ago.
was a couple of weeks ago, right? About these absolutely hilarious, cereal. We had the cereal mascots on, and find it just as funny that a couple of weeks later they've got these mascots all over the place. And I like that they come with the cereal box, a miniature one and an actual large box version of it. So that's probably their packaging. But wow, that Tony the Tiger looks great, man. Just to use his classic line. I know it's a little bit of a dig, but and last year they had or earlier this year, Intel of last year they showed the Chester Cheetah, and I've seen that on a lot of YouTubers, and they've been doing reviews on it. And like I said again, they're doing this justice. I kind of want them to do a little bit more. I know Funko did some of these back in the days, and they didn't look half as well as these. So
No,
and
yeah, those
Jada
are
Toys is
amazing.
Jada Toys is becoming also a little bit player. I know they have they're doing like, their own kind of like I think they call them pink slips where they're doing cars. And I know in our area in Southern California, they've been doing a lot of car shows and having some of the people from the Fast and Furious show up. So,
Yeah,
Jada's trying to
Jada
establish
started
some
off
stuff.
doing mostly cars, and
Yeah,
the Fast and the Furious for the longest has been their go to. But man, like I saw that Chester Cheetah come out. I think it was last year, and
yeah,
it was very high in demand. Man, like that thing sold very fast, and it's very well made.
yeah, yeah. And I think that's the aspect that kind of has me right here was just on the detail with the cereal boxes and then the miniature little cereal boxes that they come with. That actually, and then you've got Fred with a bowl and a spoon. So, you know, if you're from our generation, you'll remember these characters all over the screen. Whenever they used to do their commercials, they look like that and the Barney Rubble. They just, again, it just puts a laugh on the face. Now that's a new version of Tony the Tiger, though. There's a recent version of Tony. So and then we get some more Jada stuff. Well, Jada's digging into some of the licenses of the past and everything. And I thought this looked like it came out of the Hanna-Barbera scenario where Shaggy and Scooby look animated, and they're very fun looking characters. I love their articulation too. Uh, you know, it's just when you can do something right, you're doing it right, man. And I love they got the mummy, and then I can't remember which ghost, but I know it's from the earlier versions of it. But it's nice that they have the villains that they constantly
Well,
exposed on the
and
show.
that would be cool to see like some of those characters from like the opening credits, all the different monsters that they were coming up against. There
Yeah.
was like the sea captain one, there, the all that kind of
Hmm.
stuff. It would look really cool. And also like you could do that glow in the dark or something, so it would have that look to it.
Yeah. And if I'm not mistaken, was that dog's like 55, 60 years old or something now?
Well,
Like
yeah,
they've got a
because that
lot of
was
characters.
before we were born.
Yeah.
Scooby-Doo was on.
The
Well,
coolest thing is if they could get the licensing to do some of the guest stars that they had on Scooby Doo.
exactly, exactly. That's why I say I love to see the
Harlem
Harlem
Globetrotters.
Globetrotters.
Yeah,
Vincent
Didn't they?
Price.
They also did what Gilligan's Island. There were so many great
Uh-huh.
coasters. So I wonder how well the range of that line is because they're even still doing some of the current ones. I know they've done WWE. I know
yeah.
they've had a lot of like
Hmm.
I think
Elvira.
uh Pat
They've had.
Oswald, if I'm not mistaken. They've had all kind of guest stars that's been in the recent generations too. So they got a lot of characters they can pull from. And I'm just wondering how far that license goes. But this is a fun license.
Well, I
And
mean that's
again,
it's also owned by Warner Discovery, isn't it?
yeah, well,
Yep.
yes. Yeah, yeah,
So,
yeah. True. True. Like I said, Warner's making that money dime by dime when they get it back. But I think this is a really fun line. I'm curious. I even like the diorama that they did. Because it does kinda seem like something ripped out of the animated, so these booths, they're really putting a lot of detail into that, and that's what I kinda like. It's
they
just
just look
extremely
fun.
fun. Yes.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Just a fun toy.
Do something extra.
Yeah.
Go into the zaniness of it. Give us something where you're world building for us, so like people at home can decide if they want to do their displays in such a way, because it's so eventful when you see these in person. So if you have the opportunity to go to San Diego Comic Con or New York Comic Con, this is probably the most enjoyable sections. Is when you go down the areas and see all the toys, the toy dioramas, the makers, the booths.
The crazy thing
So,
is they just announced they're also releasing Scooby snacks, which are
oh god.
different microwavable snacks that they're putting out. So
Well,
they're that version of pizza rolls, like mini corn dogs, like stuff like that. So
Oh boy.
I'm thinking this licensing is going to go a little far now.
uh, well, here's the funny thing about it. If they're only half as good as the crap that they made them do on the show, then we got a problem here.
I want that big sandwich.
Yeah, like I said again, shameless plug on it, but hey, Warner Discovery, keep doing what you're doing, brothers. Keep giving us licensing. So we're gonna flip that down. Now, here's the thing of the day, and if you don't know, then we're gonna break it down to you. They had this display that was set up, and it was like something's missing here. And this one was brought to my attention by Rad, because Rad's on like every Reddit group and everything that known to man. And 2 days before, he was like, "It's gonna be a Sentinel. It's gonna be Sentinel." Nah, man, it's not gonna be a Sentinel. Come on, they just did the Sentinel a couple of years ago for Haslab. He was like, "Nope, nope, it's gonna be." And we were all in anticipation. They gave us this cryptic message on Instagram and their social media platforms. And today, I thought they would have dropped it Saturday, but Rad was right. It is the Sentinel. And if this, oh boy, this is an X-Men 97 version Sentinel. Now, couple of key things. This stands at 22 inches tall, 22.2 inches tall. It is 6 inches smaller than the Haslab. So they didn't just make the exact same version of the Haslab and had a bunch of people like, you animated this and everything. It's completely different. It's shorter and it's done in the animated style. So it preserves everybody that did buy the original Haslab version. Says it has over 80 points of articulation. 80 points of articulation. Wow. It comes with certain other parts. It has battle damaged alternate parts, blast effects, a new scope with the animated style deco. The pre-orders open 2 days, so if you go on, and it closes on the 26th of November. So, again, this is the one thing I give Hasbro, where they put some great thought into this. They were like, how can we squeeze as much money out of these fans and make sure some children's doesn't have Christmas? Because somebody's father is buying this. But
I don't know where 80 points of
That's what
articulation are.
I'm looking
I'm
at the
counting.
poster.
I'm like, I got maybe 20 that I can think
I
of.
I don't know how they're gonna do it. They put 80 somehow. It must be able to do some kind of bends and maneuvers that we haven't seen. Like I said, somebody had to actually quality control that. But it will ship in late 2025, so that means December next year. When they say late 20, they don't let them say, "Oh, it's going to come out in October." It's going to show up in December. But we got some more photos of it right here. So here's some of the blast effects, some of the battle damage parts. If you're crazy enough and you want to see what it looks like when you buy 7 and 8 different versions of it, that's if some people's display. There you go, right there. The pricing on this is the one that I thought that was really the best part of it. It's $175, comparably to something that was way over $300 that was for the actual Haslab version. So they didn't mention if this was coming in with any tiers, because this is not a standard Haslab. This is one of those order, kind of like the same way they did Dragon Man, which Dragon Man just ended earlier this week. And they said that was a very successful campaign for them. So I think we're going to see more of these one-off campaigns down the future. They're going to move away from some of the Haslabs, because I think, again, they've got the point, how many bigger characters can you keep doing? So um great looking. I love the colors, I love the look. Looks very much to the animated style. I like the different points of that. Dr. Currently, if you were into the X-Men, this would be something that would pique your curiosity, or this
Oh
was
yeah.
just another big thing that you don't have the room for.
I mean, like the blast effects are cool. Different heads, damage, and
Mhm,
stuff. But
mhm.
would I personally get it? Probably not, just because it's too
Yeah.
damn big.
Mhm. But I like the price point. Dragon Man wasn't crazy in pricing either. I think they do have to come down on some of the pricing, and especially when you start moving into these end of the year kind of scenarios, because you're moving into Christmas time and Thanksgiving, and you're asking fans. We just had a summer. It seemed to pre-orders that just kept dropping like one almost every other week. So it's kind of a good thing that they've at least thought a little bit about pricing for some of their newer tier stuff. But this stuff's great, man. I give them credit on this. Now, this wasn't the only. If this was just the only news of the day, well, then we'd be ending the show about now. But since it's not, we flip on to yeah, we saw some of the leaked images, and they do a good job of leaking this early in the week. And they had leaked it also way early in the summer, where they had just for Ghostbusters Day just a wheel, and they had the Haslab logo on it. So we all assumed that it was going to be the Ecto-1. In fact, I had a point where there was a couple of pre-orders that I didn't do because I had a feeling New York Comic Con they were going to launch this, and I was like, let me save up for this scenario. But yeah, like Ray Parker Jr. said, who you gonna call? You're gonna call Ghostbusters, and they did, brother. Uh, 12 inches. I think we were talking about Richard and I was talking about this like 2 feet long. Like wow, like, that's some shelf space. That's some
Well,
shelf space, and I'm so
I
glad
mean,
to give them my money for.
yeah, if you're doing a to scale hearse,
Yes.
it's gonna be big.
Yeah, and this one is now they did the O-ring and the 3 3/4 inch one in the summer, early in the summer. The biggest complaint that I got from any of the collectors was, one, that they were O-ring characters, and everybody's like, "It's nice to have the O-rings," but they dropped the vehicle, and they had to wait for the O-ring characters to arrive. So that was a big gripe. Second thing was only 2 of the actual O-ring figures could fit in Act 1. It's not an actual, like, size where all 4 characters can fit in, because when you pull out the gurney, you can put the proton packs on it, but no one can sit behind the 2 main characters. Well, they knew that was not gonna fly if you were gonna run a 6-inch version of this. All 4 characters fit in the car and the gurney. This one has some great accessory lights and sounds, and they played those lights and sounds and everything else on their little animated, um, like, preview that they did today. And, you're looking at it and saying, "Well, wait a minute." Now it's like, I see certain versions of this. This looks like that looks like that's because I know that LED signs from Ghostbusters too.
Yeah, this is the
That's not from the
Ghostbusters 2
original one.
version.
Yeah, but then you look at the bottom one, and then you're like, well, it's like, wait a minute, that looks a little different too. Well, they solved that problem for us, because while we were talking about things, and as you can see, all 4 characters sitting in the car and everything, and some of the tiers, they even come with, I can't remember, was that Lewis?
Lewis,
What's
Yeah,
the Yeah, okay, that's what I thought he
Lewis
was. Yeah,
Tully.
yeah, there
yeah.
you go. If all the backing goes before the next 2 weeks, if they're able to hit 12,000, then that character will be given with the 4 characters already. So there's a little bit point. They've also got tiers of Slimer and then the Ghost Librarian. So those are all kind of like all the cool kind of scenarios that we know from the movies and everything. But if you look at it, there's a light, there's a dome light in Ecto-1. There's a dome light. That's the detail they put in. There's a dome light next to one.
How much
So,
is this? Because now this is starting to get me to like, well, wait a second.
so like I said, now here's the thing. There's 2 versions of it. You can pay for the basic version, and I got the price down.
Oh,
So I've got to, just like a salesman, I got to like long you in. But you have the basic version. That is Ecto-1 from the first original Ghostbusters movie. But now if you're going for the deluxe version, If you look, you get the Gurney, you got Slimer, you got the Ghost Librarian. So it's right there. But if you're going for the deluxe version, well, guess what you can do? It comes with both roofs. You can take off the roof and make it the Ecto-2 or Ecto-1 version 2 that was in Ghostbusters 2, or you can just keep it as a standard version. It comes with all 4 Platinum Edition Ghostbuster 2 versions of their uniforms. All your favorite characters right there. Comes with also the I can't remember what the name. It wasn't proton packs. It was the giant slime ooze packs. They come with 2 of those. Comes with 4 proton packs. Comes with the gurneys. Comes with some additional lights. But sirens do the same thing. It does now. I'm curious to see because they did not show if the LED sign works. If it's just backlit or if it actually moves. So that's going to be the interesting thing. So I want to see that. But now, since I've already done that, we might as well just let you know the pricing on this. Dr. Brantley, we've got a pricing right here. If you just get the anniversary regular thing, is $324. And now limit 5 to customer because I don't, just in case, I know there's some people that I talked to already today through our chats that was like, I'm getting 2 of these so they can make one version. I was like, I think I can just exchange the roof and everything. So I'm good. I don't need to do 2 different versions. But I did myself, Rad, and Chet all back the deluxe version, which comes with all the characters and all the goodies that you see right there. And that was one of those aspects where the minute I saw this, I knew I was going to do it. And I was talking to funny it was Dark Moocher too, and he was like, "Oh, I already backed the deluxe and everything." So I was like, "I think most people are going to back the deluxe."
Well, for an extra $75, you get all that extra stuff. That's worth it.
Yeah. Yeah, you're like, you just might as well if you're gonna do it because now look, there's some people again, we're not telling people how to, work your budgets and everything because we know money's tight and everything else like that. But if you're gonna do it, the common sense thing makes sense for you just to go ahead and just, obviously just get the deluxe version because you've got the Ghostbuster 2 version 2 conversions and everything else. It comes with the figures and everything. Now, one thing that Moocher did tell me though, the plasma figures aren't hard to find though. So the original ones from Ghostbusters to have their kind of like tannish versions of the suit, because I know there's some purists out there. They aren't that hard to find. They're still readily available online and at certain retailers. So the best part about that is it's not like you're trying to find something that's marked so up that you can't. But I'll be honest with you, I could settle for that. But Rad did have an interesting idea. Rad was like, "I'm going to put the Mondo versions in this," and I was like, "Well, you go ahead and do that, big baller." I'm going to run with the versions that's already coming from the campaign I paid for. But if you're doing it, you're doing it. So the great part about this too is that this is I believe it's a 45-day campaign. So if you look at that, they're saying that you have till December 2nd. So 3 weeks before Christmas, you can pay for this. And again, you have to explain to your kids next year, guys, we're gonna have an Ecto-1, but we don't have it now. But guess what we do have? We have the Cat's Lair. It's coming. So so some of the stuff that she bought and the dragonfly, if some parents will have the dragonfly, they'll have a good Christmas day. There's a lot of fathers, a lot of collectors gonna have a good day. Some of these kids, they're gonna have to look at dad joy for a change, where dad's opening gifts. He's like, "Yay."
Well,
Well, you might
no,
not be
these
opening
kids will
anything.
understand what it was like when we were growing up, when Star
Exactly.
Wars came out, and Kenner
Yeah.
had nothing at that
Yes.
first Christmas. And it's like, hey, we're going to send you a piece of cardboard that's got all the characters' pictures on it, and
It
it'll
had to
come later.
stand. It had to stand.
It did. It did. It did. It did. And, those cardboard cutouts worked real
But
well for you and
I mean,
everything.
how disappointing though. It's like you open it up, oh, Star Wars toys. Wait, what's this? Where's the toys?
Well, had to wait an extra year for that one.
Yeah.
So you too can make your dreams come true, and you can, like I said, busting makes you feel good. Well, $3.99, it better. It better. All your dreams better come true. So, but that's currently up for campaign on Hasbro. Earlier in the day, I saw there's already 2,700 people that had already had purchased that. Darth Moocher and I are saying that probably by next Friday, this thing will probably be fully back. So I think there's a good chance that we will get Lewis. So, because this one,
It's that
everyone
well,
was talking about it.
so Lewis is an early bird special, so you get Lewis
Yes.
regardless. If you back
Oh,
within the
okay.
first 2 weeks.
Okay, so if you're
Um,
back in for okay. So not
yeah,
if they hit the campaign total. All right.
right.
Okay. Well, that's wow. Well
I'm
then,
I'm
yeah,
on Pulse right now. It's at 35 right now.
3,500. Oh man, yeah, it's gonna. Yeah, this one they may have to ask throw in some more tiers because this was gonna hit that 12,000 mark because every social media account I know was blowing up, and everybody all day today that was the number one thing. It was over even the Sentinel. Feel like you getting that, which version you getting, and I could say probably the 99% of people I spoke to was the deluxe model is being purchased, and I could see Dr. Brittany looking at the deluxe model saying Christmas may be coming home next year. There
Well, so
I know Richard's buying it, so that makes 4 members of PPI. So that's Dr. Britley's the only one left on the hook. I got to look to see if Meeks is going to buy one, so we'll see.
yeah, the ghosts look great, and
They do.
that's something else that they can continue to do because you can
Yes.
do like Dana as Zool, you can do the devil dogs, you can do the bad guy from the second movie. So there's a lot, and
Yeah.
all the in between ghosts too. So
Yeah, yeah. And
that
again, it's
looks
like,
great.
sometimes, we kill Hasbro and all these companies sometimes. And then there's a couple of things they do that just blow you out of the water, and you sit there and you smile in your face like, "Yeah, you got me. You got me." Well, I knew a 6-inch version of this, I'd say, "They gotta pull it, man. They gotta pull it." And when I saw these photos, I was like, "Okay, you did. Yeah, okay." So, now it's up to you, the fans, if you wanna, put your money down. I can tell you already, we're gonna do a poll on Instagram, how many people are paying for this. I'm sure it's gonna be a 99% poll on that. Because we always get
My
one
only
person who says they're
question,
not doing
my only question is the artwork.
it.
So
Yeah.
on the version 2 has different artwork than version 1. Now,
Well,
it
they come
would
with
be great
stickers.
if they did those as removable stickers
No, they're not gonna do that.
because
Either you're
you
gonna be
have
able
the
to it's
second
not gonna be
logo.
removable stickers.
Mhm.
Yeah, I know, and they also have that yellow tape kinda thing that
Right.
goes around the side of it. Yeah, no, they even with the, like, you bought a couple of Haslabs, they just come with a huge version of sticker sheet, and if you put it on and everything, look,
New
I don't
toys,
need to
yeah.
have that much detail. I don't need to have
Well,
that
you
much
got to buy
detail
two.
done to it. I'm just gonna change the roof and everything, and it'll be fine. Somebody comes out and say, "Hey, it doesn't look like an accurate version of Ghostbusters 2 version." I'm like, "Do you have a Haslab?"
Or what you do is you do 2 on one side and 1 on the other, and you just turn it.
That's actually that would solve it. Everything you could actually it changes up the display. Change like half the
Mhm.
year, it's like Ghostbusters, and then it's Ghostbusters 2. And now here's the thing: what's gonna push me over to the top that if they said, "Hey man, we got to charge you additional $50," I would. If it comes with a Bobby Brown figure, I'm paying $50 extra for it. I can tell you that right now. If it comes with Bobby Brown, I might just have
Well,
to have Richard make me a Bobby Brown. They
come on,
don't
you got to
come with
have.
one,
But what
I
about Ray
gotta have.
Parker Jr. in the outfit? Going
No,
down
see
the
that's
street doing
now,
the music video.
here's the thing. Now it's blasphemous to use Ray Parker Jr. in that. But Bobby Brown, we can exploit as much as possible. Don't worry about
Well,
it.
let's be honest. If you use Ray Parker Jr., you might get sued by Hugh Lewis and News. So,
True, true, true. Yeah, there's a lot of controversy right there, Ray. So,
I mean,
but that
they won
it,
this
it
lawsuit. So,
it would be 100% a if they said $50 extra, it comes with another tier of Bobby Brown. I'd be like, well, I'll be singing it. Does Bobby have the can you put the back of the theme song comes? Yeah, you got me, Hasbro. You got me. So we'll roll through. This is McFarlane's booth and everything, and McFarlane is McFarlane it. Uh, I like, again, I saw some of the photos of his Batman Superman wave, and I thought, okay. And then I saw the photos from his official Instagram account that he put up from the booth, and I was like, wow, they don't look anything like the characters in that Zack Snyder film. And
Are they
that
supposed
dark
to
side
be?
looks pretty
Is that supposed
bad.
to be from Batman versus or
Yeah, it is.
yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
Oh.
yeah.
Okay.
In person, they didn't look. They didn't look that great from his digital renders and situations, but it was like, let's give it the benefit of the doubt. But the photos that came back was like, oh wow, these are completely off. Wow, I think he's doing too many products and lines and everything else like that, and now the quality is starting to ship
Well, and
every
that's not the
time we
only
see it.
bad thing that he produced this year.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. It'll keep on coming. But you take a look at, we talked about this on Toybox Chronicles. The Christopher Reeve, just it's the chest is what's killing me about it. I think the face sculpt doesn't look bad, but the chest is the problem that I have of it, especially when you look at Mezco's version of it, and they got that right. So, and it does look like it comes with a wire cape, or at least here it's kind of looking like. So I think the cape there is a wire because he's been doing that in a lot of his stuff now, just with the wiring in it. So we'll see that. And then obviously he has his gold label version that comes with Batman Beyond, and there's the Batman Beyond Batmobile. Now I will say this again: he goes 2 steps forward, 6 steps backwards. This vehicle is fantastic. It looks great. Now, I did not like the color shaded version of the Batman Beyond figure, and there's two I think we've got to reel down later on here on the line, but we'll get back to that a little later. Got some Mondo toys. Mondo has some weird stuff they took to this convention. I was not expecting some of this stuff and everything, but they're doing what they're doing. They've got some items out there. I think that every now and then the problem that I have with Mondo is I just think their figures, while they're excellently produced, they're just a little bit too
Ridiculous.
much out of my price range, man. It's like $200 a figure is that's really kind of hitting it right there.
Yeah,
And
for
again,
the price of a Mondo, you might as well just buy a hot toy.
yeah, yeah, you might as well go up there. And again, I said these were they're online exclusives, and I thought, yeah, again, you have to be either a hell of a Godzilla fan, which I am, but not enough to buy whatever version. It's like it kind of to me, it's like when you cut the lights off, does he glow in the dark or something, or is this like made with like black paint or something? It was kind of weird to me, but
It looks
I've
like
seen that version of him.
it looks like the knockoffs you used to get at the swap meet when you were a kid.
Yeah, but for a lot more money, I can tell you
Yeah.
that. And of course, they've got some lithographs and some other things that they've got in person and online. They've also got some other characters that they put up. And I was looking at it again. Their detail, their work looks great. You can't just say that their work doesn't look great. I just think it's a little bit more than I would be willing to spend for something just sitting on my shelf. And now again, if I'm going to do it, I will go up to a Hot Toys. If you're going to do something, just get yourself a Hot Toys. So, Mondo's doing their thing there. We've got NECA. Now, NECA surprised me because if you watch the retrospect with Dr. Brantley and I, last year we did all of the Universal monsters, and at the same time we did some of the Hammer films, and we thoroughly enjoyed those Hammer films. Well, NECA just didn't give us, the standard version of Dracula, Lugosi's version, but they actually gave us Christopher Lee's version that is based out of the Hammer films. And I thought, wow, that looks like comes with different head sculpts and everything. This was the pride and joy of because Hammer films do not get the respect that the Universal films get. I heard you were going to say something, Richard.
I'm all over this. Hammer
Yeah.
horror films were my favorite when I was younger. They
Yes.
didn't get the respect because they were bloody.
Yeah.
Universal films were universally like people were able to watch them, kids were able to watch them.
Yeah.
That's why but Hammer was, I mean, they were some of them were pretty for the time were pretty
Yeah.
gory. And
Well,
the heavy metal icon, Christopher. Come on.
yeah.
The guy
Wow.
played Dracula. He was in a heavy metal band. I mean, what else could you ask for?
Yeah, now the one good thing that I'll tell you that this will be to Dr. Brentley's heart and desire. They did not have that Wolfman character from that movie. So that was the one character they skipped out of the Hammer films because that movie was one of the hardest Hammer films I've
The
sat through.
the movie is terrible, but the design of the Wolfman is
Yes.
fantastic. I just wish they had had the Wolfman in the actual Wolfman movie,
Yeah,
you
yeah.
know?
Actually, last 5 minutes of that movie though, boy. They could cut
Yeah,
something down to it.
watch like, yeah, 10 minutes at the
Yeah.
end, but you
But
can
again,
skip most of the rest.
I love it. This is in-person shots from the booth. So you're looking at great versions of Christopher Lee, and it's like it's right there. It's every bit of that movie. I'm like, wow, I remember that. But that's not all though. Like I said, we take a look. Oh, Peter
Van
Cushing, one of my
Helsing.
favorite actors. One of my favorite actors. And wow, does he not look fantastic? Like you said, you're on it, Richard. These are two characters that the Hammer films are a special place in my heart. I would definitely be purchasing these two characters, but they couldn't just give us that. They had to take it off one last level and everything. NECA NECA decided that they're going to do something mighty devious to us. And everything else like that, and they had to do American World. I was like, they just keep pouring it on and pouring it on and pouring it on. Great scopes, great characters. Wow.
Well,
Wow.
they did last year. They put out the what was it the from and they put out the Wolf last
Mhm.
the deluxe Wolf, which
Yeah.
was one of the best sculpts I've ever seen on a
Oh, yeah.
toy. It was absolutely amazing. That thing sold like hotcakes too.
Mhm.
So to finally see, like I thought they were going to go in depth, like just keep going with the American Werewolf in London. Those things were really popular when they came out.
Yeah.
I couldn't keep them on the shelves. I know a lot of places couldn't, and then they just kind of puttered off. They didn't put out any more characters.
Well, there's
So
only so many few they can. They probably just took their time and waited a little.
they
But
just put
the
out the
scopes
Wolf.
are amazing on it.
But yeah,
They
Well,
there's like
put out
all
the
the
main
the most
character.
important.
but yeah,
He's
but
the
the
most important character
characters
in the entire
from
movie.
the nightmare scene, like the
Yeah.
Nazi zombies
Oh, the
and
Nazi
stuff.
was put out. Yeah,
Okay,
the Nazi
because
zombie was put out.
because yeah,
Yes.
that was a cool looking character. But
Yeah,
at least they didn't just put out a couple of hikers. They're
Yeah, yeah,
doing
yeah.
the
yeah,
bloody versions, the
yeah.
zombie
Oh yeah.
versions of them.
Yeah, they're doing so again. It's kind of hit me with the NECA booth, but also again when we're talking about is you gotta look at this classic Borla Karloff as the main character in the Mummy, and of course I'm always an Invisible Man fan and Frankenstein, and then of course for Chet I had to put in there's our buddy Alf right there at the top.
Now, that invisible man, the one that's on the character, is
Yeah,
that hollow so you can see through the back to the back
I
of the thing?
I don't
Because
know,
that would be
but that
cool
would
as
be
hell, and it seems
interesting.
like something
Yeah,
they could do.
I
That would be
who
awesome.
knows? Who knows? But yeah, this is one I actually have to buy this one and let you know, Dr. Burnley. And I know that Chet's buying it out, so that's already in his cart. So, God bless him wherever he's at. Then we run back. Joe Q is back with a new imprint. His newest book, it was imprint is called Amazing because, you know, Joe Quesada, Amazing Comics imprint over at Man Cave Studios. His book called Discipline. Discipline's a prequel to Hamlet set in the Assassin's world, features a star-studded creative team. So I think that only he's coming up with designs and some characters he's not drawn in the book, but he did do this cover. So it's nice to see Joe Quesada after he took his exodus from Marvel, doing something else. And we'll see how this works. Man Cave Studio has been doing some pretty good work. I know they've did the new Dick Tracy line that I read, and I was like, it's pretty good. It's pretty good. So Man Cave's making a name for themselves. So, that's what we got from the New York Comic Con. Things are rolling out, but that's not our only toy news and toy situations on the night. But I was pleasantly surprised by the first 2 days. Again, I thought most of their news was going to drop down on like a Saturday normally, because that's where they kind of hold off a lot of that stuff for San Diego Comic Con. But when they were dropping it on like, today, one after another, I was like, wow, okay,
Well,
they're really
uh,
playing this serious.
In the Mcfarlane stream that I watched, he revealed that they're doing a whole line for Marvel that is based on the artwork of different characters. And what they're doing is not necessarily just covers, but they're trying to find like the coolest version of like Captain America or a Wolverine. And then they're going to turn that into a figure and do it like that comic page.
Huh,
So that's something, but they didn't,
that's
you know,
cool.
this is something they just starting. So probably in
Yeah.
another year or something, we'll see that.
Okay, well, like I said again, like I said, he usually when he knocks something out the ball, he does it right or he either goes way wrong. There's no middle ground with him. So, but I like that he's always willing to at least try. He's never scared to like, set out something and he'd tell you in a minute that it didn't work for him. And there's a couple of things because there's a Lord of the Rings play. I did
Oh,
not purposely put that in because I
oh,
don't
see,
want it
that's
to
what I
be
was
like we're
talking about
crapping on him all
earlier.
night. Yeah, I didn't want to do that because it was
Oh,
just too much on him. But he did a Lord of the Rings for the new movie that's coming out in December, the animated film. He did a castle and he did a cardboard castle, and people were pissed. So I felt like everybody's kind of kicking him, and I was like, "Look, I knew we were going to have some things on the show that was going to kick him." I was like, "Let me give him a rest. I'm sure there's enough people beating him up for this." But I did find that extremely funny. People were killing him about that castle and how bad those characters look. So,
well,
again,
I
he
was gonna
goes
say,
steps up,
they
steps
should.
back.
They're taking some cues from you, where
Yeah.
when you couldn't get the stuff as a kid,
Yes.
you were
Mhm.
making it all out of cardboard.
Absolutely. I had an extensive enterprises building both of them out of cardboard, and they were damn near 6 feet tall. There was when you didn't have it, you made it. And so, but obviously, Top McFarlane's taking that to an all different there. But again, everybody else was kicking him in the teeth, and I was like, you know what? Let's not go too deep on poor Uncle Todd tonight because he's hearing it from everyone on social media, and they're killing him for it. But we got some things. But now here's the thing, though, Uncle Todd, you didn't do things right. But here's the one thing that your nephew, Mr. Storm, will give you. You did this right and everything, and you did. Okay, here it is. They have two versions of this. One is the gold label version that comes with that comic shaded version of Terry McGinnis, Batman Beyond. And that's for all that's on McFarlane.com. I think it's on Big Bad Toy Store. I think it's on Entertainment Earth, our affiliate there. So check in the descriptions. And if we haven't told you this, please like, comment, and supply. If you like the show and everything, throw that sub there for us and everything. Throw in a comment. Let us know what you're thinking about the New York Comic Con and some of these other things. And we're here every Friday, 7 p.m. Pacific, 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And like James Bond, we will be back next week too. So, but McFarlane dropped this one, and this is not the gold label version. This was on Amazon. It says gold label, but it's not. The gold label comes with the character. This does not. This is the same version, comes with the stand, just no character. Now, look, on the own, he did a great job on this actual vehicle. And here's the aspect that I kind of like about it, which I think some other companies wouldn't have done this. The Amazon version without the character is $89. The gold label version that comes with Batman and the shaded version of him and the vehicle, that's $99. Now, $10 off on the figure or something like that. Yeah, it's not much, but he could have just ran both at $99 if he wanted to. So I appreciate it. I actually did order this. This one's 21 inches long. I was telling Rad today. I know I'm changing up my display because I'm gonna need a hell of a lot more room with Ghostbusters and some tanks and a whole bunch of other crap coming. Like I said, I'm gonna need some major shelf space for this. But this was I love the sleekness. I love the design. I love it comes with the stand that kind of makes it float. Really one of Tom McFarlane's better pieces of work. And again, we rag him down, but when he does something right, man, he does it right, man. You can't display
He
that one.
kills it
So
on vehicles.
he does. He does. Look, I'm waiting for him to do a Batman versus Superman vehicle, not the characters, I'm just waiting for the vehicle.
But we're getting the characters,
Getting this done.
unfortunately.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to skip the characters. But yeah, that one's currently up on Amazon. I think I made my purchase sometime early this morning, and it was not one of those ones where you were running into a problem and it wasn't readily available. It's up. So I don't know if it's still up at the moment, but it was early this morning, it was up, and it wasn't hard to search for. So that's a good thing about this. We're gonna roll down and something else that Lego, and this is actually at the New York Comic Con, and I thought this was very interesting because Lego does what Lego does, and we have a mentor of ours that does every Lego, and it's the high price ones. This one comes off at a starting price of $329.99 with over 3,093 pieces. This is the X-Men Mansion, and it comes with all the little characters. I don't know if it's the Sentinel comes with it, but I know the X-Men did come with this. So this is kind of cool. I'm not into Legos because I'm not going to spend my time building up something that I purchased. I'm not spending $400 to build something.
I might.
But they did have this on display at the New York Comic Con, and it looked cool. Everybody was snapping photos saying this was really cool.
That looks amazing. I did
does.
not see that. Yeah, that.
Yeah. That's what we do here, man. We bring you the news that nobody sees. So I thought that was interesting to throw in on the night. We're gonna flip that through. IDW.
Are you sure that's IDW?
Yeah, I don't know what it is. It looks like this VD or something. I don't know, or ID
It looks
or
like an
whatever.
LD.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it looks like LD Comics.
Well, I wasn't the only person that had something to say about this. In fact, all over. This was because that they did some rebranding. They let a bunch of people go. Let's be quite honest with you. And I know again these things bite us in the butt because if any of these people know we're writers in the industry, they hear this. Chances are it's going to be a harder transition for us to work. But IDW over the last couple of years has been known for really doing a lot of great work. They've newly done some cheap stuff. They also lost a lot of their licensing off. I know the Transformers and GI Joe went over to Skybound, and so they've done a rebranding. They changed some people, they changed some scenarios, and they wanted to do a rebranding, and they decided to go with a change of their classic. And I always thought the light bulb and said IDW was always one of their better ones. But somehow they decided that this was the thing they were gonna die on this cross for this. And if I'm just looking at this too, Ben Templesmith chimed in. Now, if you don't know who Bill Templesmith is, he was the guy that did the original 30 Days of Night, and technically that and Steve Niles, those books launched IDW. And for a long time, he had a lot of work there that was a staple of the stuff that was there. But he had some things to say. He says, "Oh my gosh, the new IDW logo is the most amateurish, terrible piece of design I've seen in a long time." He said, "But it really does match the share price." Wow. It says, "Give me my rights back to Wormwood freely, and don't let creators find out their involvement in media projects via press releases."
Damn.
Now, if that's not a person that's calling you out, I don't know what is, but wow. And he was saying that this looked like something that was designed off of fiber. And if you know IDW, that could be very well true. Yeah, that could be.
It looks like it was poorly described on an AI app, and that's what you got.
I don't know what they were thinking about this, but we'll see if it changes. We'll see if it changes. Then from there, here's the thing: we're talking about cardboard cutouts. Well, I didn't want to go on Uncle Todd, but I'm going to take this opportunity to give Super 7 their due. Because they got a cardboard cutout that is not an actual spaceship in the cliff in plastic. That is a cutout. That's a cutout for $75. It comes with 2 action figures. Now, here's the thing: you can flip the cardboard cutout on the back end. It has a completely different display of the Transformers universe, kind of like the stars and everything in Cybertron. But if you flip it on this side, then you get the arc and the mountain and everything else there, and these 2 figures. This is Super 7. This is up for pre-order on Walmart.com. It's a Walmart.com exclusive, if you can believe
Did you
that.
say $75?
$75, yes, sir. $75. It's
I
right
paid
there.
$20 for those figures and just print that out myself.
Yeah, well, not as good as Super 7 apparently. It's $75. But when they were giving Uncle Todd his ratting, one guy was like, "Oh, if you think that's bad."
Well, at least
And
his was
I
only
went on
$30.
I went on to Walmart.com and I looked it up and I said, "Yep, it's for $75. That is my Walmart Plus ID." Search that, and it was like, "Oh my God, they're charging 75 like Super 7." And down at the
Oh,
bottom it's the Super 7 WTF with an exclamation point. What are you doing, Super 7?
and also they have the nerve to call this a playset.
Yes. Well, it was a
No,
playset in
it's
1979. Yeah, it's a
yeah,
playset.
exactly.
No,
Like we had
no,
the land of
no.
the Jawas.
The fan crawler had a moving elevator, and
Yeah,
it had like there was actual pieces on
and
that. This
yeah,
is
and
But
the little escape pod. There was
right.
also, you know,
but GI Joe did have an actual, the Cobra mission rocket base. That was an actual cardboard cutout, and that's a very expensive card.
Yes,
I
the
don't think
one
this
that
is
Cobra
going to age
Commander originally
well.
came with. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think this is gonna age well, though. I don't think this is gonna
No.
go up in price. In fact, I got a feeling that, like I said, there was a guy that was on the Star Wars the Marvel Legends and Hasbro's panel, and they showed some Star Wars items. And I thought the funniest quote of the day, because boy, these guys were in rare point on some of these panels. They pulled up a Star Wars item and he said, "That's going to be $3.99 at Ross and Ollie's." He just called it out. And I was like, wow, it's the fans are hitting a little good. Well, this is one of those Ross and Ollie kind of things. Don't pay $75 for this. So
Now,
in
if
no way, shape, or form should you.
if they released this purely for nostalgia's sake, and it was like $25, okay, it's like a fun kind of throwback thing, but 75.
Yeah, wow. And again, I had to this was one of those I got out the app and then I refreshed again because I thought this must be something wrong with this. And I went, nope, it's $75. Okay. Oh, all right, guys. All right. Super 7. Super 7. Okay, it should be Super 75. That's what they should call their new company. Because this does not make any sense. But that was the rag of the night that we had to do for that. And also Hasbro, they not done with San Diego Comic Con and New York Comic Con. They got one more event for us, but it's Hasbro Pulse exclusive, people. So if you paid your money like I do, Chet do, and everybody else that's insane, this is one just for the Hasbro Pulse members. But it's their annual 1027 one. I don't know what they're going to actually release or anything because they just hit us with a bunch of massive releases and everything. And who knows? But that one's going to be next week, October 27th, and it's going to be at 12 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So, hopefully we get the emails this time that they're actually doing that event because they've been known not to send out those emails. So with that, we're getting close to the end of the show. A couple of key things. One, I wanted to let everybody know this is one thing for Chet, myself. Starduster came in, and wow, Starduster. Been waiting a long time. Couldn't eat the cereal, but I finally got my Starduster, and it wasn't like the insane prices of the actual Starduster that's going out. So, but there was a great SoCal Joe Show event that did a custom version that's out there, and if you can get a hold of that, try to get a hold of that one too because that is worth it. But I was glad
All the stuff
Stardust
in the SoCal Joe Show goes. They do a really good job, and that
they
stuff
do.
goes up. People collect that stuff. It goes up
Oh
in
yeah,
price
yeah,
quite a bit. They
and
do an
and I don't
excellent
blame
job with
them
this
either.
stuff. Oh no,
Yeah,
it's all
and
handmade.
again, and I know that's coming up in December, and I'm looking forward to doing that. I know you normally are a vendor there as
I'll be
well,
there.
so we're gonna have a presence there, and this time Chet will be there, so we're gonna do it pretty big this year and try to blow the roof off the top of the place. So, anyways, we're getting close to the end of the night and everything, but guess what? We can't do that deal without giving thanks to our sponsors. And we got a couple of night. We added a new one to the show from this point on, but the first one's going to be Entertainment Earth. If you're going to buy any figures, buy them from Entertainment Earth. That's right. You can use our code. The link is in the description to Entertainment Earth. The best thing about it is after $59, the shipping is free, and if you buy a couple of figures, chances are it's going to be about $60. So you might as well get the shipping for free on there. And like us and everything, the show's called Pixel Plastic and Ink. And, we're into all things, but one of the main things we're into is comic books. And if you're looking for a great comic book supply company, was our new sponsor, Gemini Comic Supplies. That's right. You can get 10% off. 10% off is always good. And last but not least, our guys that, well, actually, second to last, our person from the very beginning that believed in us when no one else did. Our friends in Wilmington, California, Toys versus Games.
Toys versus
Games. I'm here with the man, the owner.
Tony at Toys versus Games. Versus
Games.
Oh.
We love those mom and pops. If you have a chance and you're in Wilmington, California, please stop by and see Tony and his wife. It's essential that we keep these mom and pop businesses going. And one of the essential mom and pops that actually we do know, another one that we're going to add to our list right here, is our buddies over at KS Collectibles. Yes, sir. And guess what he's done? Because he did this on Wednesday and he extended that offer right there. He's got a code that gives you 15% off if you put in SKN15 when you go to kscollectibles.com. Collectibles with a K, mind you, K. 15% off. Richard, what you got over there for us?
We mainly do action figures. We do also do video games. Most of our stuff is tends to be on the vintage,
Okay.
90s to 2000s. We have quite a bit of 70s and 80s toys too. I'm personally cataloging, which thank God for that Gemini code, because I'm personally cataloging over 20,000 comic books right now. So our website is constantly building. So if there's ever anything you're looking for, there's plenty of ways to reach me. There's links directly on the website or on our Instagram, Facebook, TikTok. And we also offer custom action figure. I build custom action figures. So
All right. Well, that's the one thing, and I will also tell you too. There's a difference. We have a list that we're devising together. Somewhat not some mom and pops of people that we believe are retailers that we know are honest and that we vetted. Richard is one of those KS collectibles. So if you're going through them, you know that that's backed by the Shadow Nose Network. So it's always nice to get that in. And now we're getting close to the end of the show, and we want to tell everybody to have their good weekends. But guess what? No, can't tell you a weekend unless we know the beginning and everything. You need to know what's going on next week. And we got some live streams to pop up and everything from our friends over the Soar Like Digest podcast and the Fallen Fat. That's right. Wednesday's a busy night. You don't have to even think about what you should do on Wednesday night. You got the Fallen Fed at 6 p.m. You've got Toybox Chronicles right here on the Shadow Nose Network, 7 p.m. with myself and Chet and sometimes Richard. And then we've got the Sarlacc Digest podcast, or like I like to say, the best damn Star Wars podcast on YouTube. They're at 8 p.m. Wednesday nights covered. Pop back here on Friday night to see us. Also, we got some certain shows on the network that we're really excited about. Mondays dropping at 11 a.m. Pacific, 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Getting Medieval. If you want to know about swords, magic, and dragons, well, that's the show for you. We just went through all of the Rings of Power episodes, and this week coming up, we got a special Dungeons and Dragons. That's right, Dungeons and Dragons episode. And at one point or another, we're actually going to do an actual campaign, and we're going to involve you guys in it too, because we don't want to just seem like the only people that don't know what we're doing in the Dungeons and Dragons world. But we've got Darth Moocher over there for the Sword Like Digest podcast. He pops in for that. Myself and Dr. Brantley. Stay tuned for that. That's always great. One of the also things that we've got coming up is something that we're calling the Retrospect Vault. Very interesting. We can't announce it just yet, but when we do, it will be something that drops on Saturday at 2 p.m. Pacific time and 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So look forward to that. We're going to be dropping some announcements in the next week or two to build that up. And then, as always, we've got Joystick Junkies and all the other great shows that you can watch over here. And I'd be remiss to say to not watch over Richard's customizing videos over on his YouTube channel. Want to give that URL out to us, Richard?
Yeah, it's at KS Customs, custom spelled with a K. It's kind of my thing. Everybody puts stuff out, and like if you spell it wrong, it works.
Exactly. It does.
But yeah,
It does.
I do.
Right.
I go through step-by-step procedures of making custom action figures. So if you're trying to do it yourself, you can follow right along and figure out how to do it on your own.
And that's so very important. Customization is one of those big things in the toy community, and it's only growing. And I'm glad that we've got KS Collectibles to actually give us guidance for that, because he's giving you jewels here. Take them. So, with that said, and everything else that we're rolling to the end of the evening, we want you guys to have a safe weekend. Make sure you're checking out days 3 and 4, because if days 1 and 2 was crazy at the New York Comic Con, I can only imagine what the weekend's going. We were going to jump into certain questions, so we're going to leave you tonight. Is New York Comic Con overtaking San Diego Comic Con? Are they overtaking them? Because when I look at that big nice hall, it is crazy, and I think that they are kicking their butts. Richard, what do you think about it, right quick?
I think they have been for a couple of years. It's just
Mr. Brantley.
Well,
Go ahead,
one problem is that if there's one city that is more expensive than San Diego or Los Angeles, it's New York. So good luck with that.
That hall looked 10 times larger, and the layout was way better. I think San Diego Comic Con, they got to get out of that small little convention center in San Diego, because wow, looking at the booths and the sizes there. But that's the question that we'll leave you with. You guys have yourself a great weekend, and just remember, we made this cool.